All right, what's up, everybody? I'm back again with a brief video. Well, I don't know how long this is gonna take, but we'll see. Now, this is gonna be a follow-up video to my last video where I was talking about men being in jail for child support, and I think there might be some conservative objections to this, but we have to take in mind gynocentrism and the modernization of those types of relationships between men and women and look at some new facts that might, alter your perception slightly on this issue, and keeping in mind, the fact that men are predisposed to care more about women than men genetically. So we have to kind of bypass that and look at it in a more objective manner. Okay, so you can see here, I've got the Lynn Collins Think About It song displayed, beautiful woman. And, this song has been sampled many, many times. There are entire genres of drum and bass and jungle music that are based off of samples from this song. Of course, the Two Live Crew, It Takes Two. And that's, one of the main premises of the song is that it takes two. It takes two to make a thing go right. So, why is it that men are put in jail when they can't pay child support if the woman is supposedly equally responsible for pregnancy? Now, again, the conservatives have a more old school view of this, that the man is the initiator, and so therefore he is responsible. That's not really a holistic view of human reproduction, but even with that view, we have to take into consideration modern technology such as contraception and the fact that educational practices such as teaching young men about Me Too and all these other things, consent and the like, give women a certain advantage in society, and they definitely, for the most part, except for the exception of a few very horrible men, are given the right to choose in almost every instance of life and almost every instance of interacting with men. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to check Grok, and we're going to find out how many different types of contraception are available for women in the United States. Whoops, typing horrible. Okay. 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, there's at least 20 distinct methods. Quick summary. So when people say there are a ton of options, they are not kidding. 20 real choices from something you grab at 7-Eleven to a 12-year copper IUD. Okay, so women have 12, count them, 20 types of birth control available to them in the United States. Some reversible, some not. But it would be very, very difficult to make the claim that a woman does not have access to contraception and that a woman does not know how to use contraception because they're taught how to use these things in public school. Right? So it's starting to get, if the conservatives want to maintain this position that it's the male's fault only, then you're kind of going into the territory where feminists were getting when they were saying that a man who is drunk and a woman who is drunk having intercourse automatically meant that the man was assaulting the woman because the woman was drunk, even though the man was also drunk. You see? It's a gynocentric view, and it's not actually a logical view. It's based on an older premise from an older time in society when men had more authority over women, and we could even say it might have been a negative type of authority. But in the current day, that situation no longer exists, right? So we have to ask ourselves, do men get women pregnant in 2025? Or do women allow men to impregnate them in 2025? You see what I'm saying? Like it seems similar, but when you're saying women allow men, it's different than saying men are thrusting, no pun, pregnancy upon women. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, when you're talking about who should go to jail, let's say both parents, because obviously if the woman wants child support, then why doesn't she have money? Now, granted, if the father wants to have custody of the child, then yes, he must pay. But if he's relinquishing custody, say the mother is a single mother, which is usually the case in a lot of these instances where someone's paying child support, because logically that's why you're paying child support, because you're no longer with the mother of the child, right? So the man can just relinquish, if the man has not relinquished custody, then he should have to pay child support. But seeing as how someone would be facing jail time, I don't see why they wouldn't just relinquish custody in order to avoid going to jail, right? And then at that point, the woman would have to be responsible for taking care of the child once the father relinquishes custody, right? Because it's also her responsibility as to why the child was created. It's not just the man. The woman has to allow for, right? So she is responsible. And then we can see more broader evidence of these gynocentric attitudes, these older, you can say conservative attitudes towards men and women when it comes to sentencing in the prison system as well. So we'll check right here. We can see that most of the inmates in jail are men, the vast majority of men. And then we can also see here, this is a pretty basic chart. Oh, this is for teachers. Oh, I see. Hold on. Let's see if we can get that info from Grok. Women are being infantilized by getting lower, shorter sentences. See, women receive 33% shorter prison sentences. Women are 58% less likely to be sentenced to prison. Only 8.5% of convicted women get to prison versus 19.9% of men. Women get shorter terms when incarcerated, up to 63% shorter overall, including avoided charges. Property drug offenses, women less likely to get in prison, shorter terms if sentenced for violence, similar incarceration odds, but 50% shorter sentences. Bonds set 54% lower. It's because patriarchy allows women to get out of jail sooner and receive less crime and punishment. I would say that the most shorthand way to even look at the crime sentencing disparity would be to say that for something that a man will go to jail for, a woman won't even be arrested for. And for something that a man would go to prison for, a woman would go to jail for. You know, something that a man would get a ticket for, a woman would just get let go. Right? That's like a kind of easy shorthand way to look at it. So now we can see that there's a bias. There's a huge, huge bias when it comes to the way that society looks at women when it comes to responsibility. Right? And it's partially due to men's paternalistic attitudes towards women. That they feel that they must care for women over men at the expense of men, or just simply just giving them less time because they just don't feel as though women deserve as much punishment. Sugar and spice and everything nice could possibly be the halo effect, could possibly be other reasons that we typically tend to call gynocentrism. So that's basically the gist of the video, is that yes, it takes two, and women are equally responsible for creating children in the modern era. Even some might claim that women have more authority, more power than men to choose when they become impregnated. And so therefore, the fact that 95% of the people that are in jail for not paying child support are male is just confusing, and it all goes and ties together with the fact that society just does not, for whatever reason you can come up with, they just do not feel that women are responsible for the things that they do. And it is basically an outdated, outmoded way of thinking. It just is. They want equality. If they want equality, give it to them. Make sure that all 20% of women that are convicted go to jail. The same as men. Make sure women have longer prison sentences. See what I'm saying? Because think about it, right? If the woman is the one that's basically, we all admit that the woman chooses. The woman gets to pick who is the new man of the next generation, right? So if they have that, all that power and all that choice, right? Why are they not responsible? Right? And it's like, we can get into the relinquishing custody, but I think that I can make a pretty logical claim that when faced with a long jail time, losing your job, and all these other things, that at least a certain percentage of fathers would relinquish custody in order to avoid lengthy jail sentences. And we just have to, look at it in that way that, women are the ones that are responsible for allowing men. You see what I'm saying? It's a similar argument that can be made about early termination. That, well, I think that's what a lot of people are missing. It's like, oh, they're always arguing about when does the conception begin and when does life begin after conception? But the real point is when the woman allows, because we live in a modern world where there's consent, except for a few horrible people, when the woman allows the man, she knows the possible outcomes. She has 20 different types of contraception available, and that's not even including abstinence and early termination. So that's 22 in actuality, right? But yet we still want to blame men and target only men for the problems that women create, because we need to attach a dollar amount to the problem, and it's easier to just attach it to a man. And especially nowadays, women are earning more money than ever. Younger women are out earning men, like women under 25 out earn their male counterparts. So there's really no need to maintain this outdated look. And either if the woman doesn't have enough to pay for the child, either she should be put in jail too. And think about it, conservatives, that would quickly, rapidly boost the amount of celibate women, right? Because if a woman is now faced with jail time for just trying to get another baby daddy, but we will not do that. That would not look good. No. It's better to put the guy that was just there for a one-night stand hookup. Who knows? He might have even been wearing a condom. He might have been wearing a condom and the condom broke, right? Happens all the time. Happened to my cousin. She could have poked a hole in the condom. There are, what show was that? I forget. I think it was Tyra Banks, where it was some daily talk show from like the early 2000s. And a vast majority of women said that if they wanted to get impregnated by a specific guy, that they would have no problem telling the guy that they were on birth control when they are not. How can a man know? Oh, I just took the IUD, but she didn't. She replaces your condom with a condom with a hole in it. She tells you she's on the pill. She's not. Right? And after all of that, what are they going to say to the man? Well, you should have pulled out. You should have kept it in your pants. But what do they say to women? Do they ever say to women to keep it in their pants? Have you ever heard anyone tell a woman, keep it in your pants next time? Maybe you shouldn't have been so. You see what I'm saying? And then the conservatives put it on the men. You must chase. You must be the one pursuing. You must, a man pursues a man. And then you put the men in this position, and it's a self-perpetuating cycle. And then the woman says, oh, well, the man was chasing. No, it's just a holistic view of human reproduction. It's not just the man chasing, the woman is also allowing. It's a two-party system. It takes two. All right. I think I touched most of the points there. I don't see anybody in the comments disagreeing with me, so I'm going to get out of here for now. Might be back later. Talk to you then. Have a good day and peace.